I'm your host, Jade.
And I'm your host, Emma.
And welcome to
Lashing Out and Nailing Life. The Unplugged. I forgot a very important chord today, so...
She's not being completely honest. She was misled.
I was misled. My little brother and I share the thing that we run the microphone for, and I hadn't got my own because we were also sharing that with my dad. So, I asked him where the other cord was, and he said it was still in the box in the bag, and it was in fact not. And I did not check until I got here. But anyways, it's a little...
We're still a small podcast. You have to remember we're still making mistakes.
It's just the two of us. It's just the two of us.
Okay, so today is kind of a reflective episode. We're gonna be talking about advice we give our younger selves. And that'll range from like advice in the beauty industry to advice in relationships and friendships. So we'll start with the advice in relationships and friendships, and then if you don't own a beauty business, you can stop listening when we get to that part.
Or if you want to know the tea, then that's fine too.
Yeah. Okay, but we'll open with things for everybody. So, I mean, the biggest thing that I always tell myself, which I was just talking about with Emma, is that outgrowing friendships doesn't mean you're a bad person. Because Emma's seen me go through the ups and downs of friendships over the 2 years she's been doing my nails now.
But I also feel like once you leave high school too, that your friendships grow and change, and because everyone's kind of priorities change too.
Yeah.
So friends that might have been really good friends in high school might not be really good friends out in other life.
So just think a lot of people forget that your early 20s are really your developmental years, so you're changing, honestly, like every 6 months, I feel like. And everybody goes through such different things in their early 20s too, and it also comes down to an understanding. So you find your people as you go through your life experiences.
Sorry, I'm pulling out my notes because I don't remember what advice I would give myself. I was joking with Jade before the podcast that it's double check and don't trust other people's words. Okay, so my number one was... Just kidding, that's the business ones. Jeez. I'm so unorganized today.
Do you want me to say another one?
Yes. Say another one because I feel like all of mine are just business ones.
That's fair. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 20. And I feel like that goes for both aspects, but personal life-wise, like, I feel like when you're in your early 20s, you expect yourself to be moved out in a serious relationship and blah, 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 because those are the social standards that we've talked about in the past in a previous episode. And everybody is on their own timeline, and you're all at a different place in life at a different time. So when you're on chapter 1 and you compare yourself to somebody who is much further along, I think that's what a lot of people end up doing, especially with social media.
Yeah, and I feel like we've talked about it before too. Like we see people who are like, I just bought my first house, or I just got married, or we're having a baby, and
I also forget a lot of my friends are older than me. A lot of my friends are older than me, at least by a year and if not more. So I think I forget that I'm also comparing myself to people who have more life experience and have had more time than I have had. Yeah, to achieve what they're
or just people who have even been in relationships like for a super long time. Like, oh, they just got married and they're our age, so 25, but they've been with their significant other for 10 years.
Yeah,
it was time and things like that too. Through because I did not organize my notes either.
Okay, well, another one of mine, and this is something I'm still working on to this day, so it's also advice to my current self. Setting boundaries doesn't make you rude.
Yes.
It makes you an advocate for yourself. And setting boundaries with anybody, friends, family, significant others, has been an issue I've had my entire life, and it's a constant thing I'm working through in therapy. Like, that's the main reason I'm still going to therapy, is because I suck at setting boundaries, and I feel like it's a conversation every time I go. So that would be my biggest advice, because if I had started when I was younger, I'd be better at it by 25.
I have one. That your gut is usually right. Again, this is to my younger self, and I had many times where I would have an off feeling with a certain friend or boyfriend, and I would be like, you're overreacting, it's not real, you're just nervous or scared or insecure, and then something would happen and I'd be like, should have trusted that gut instinct.
No, that's a big problem I have, because I'm an overthinker as well as having a strong gut, and I feel like it's really hard to differentiate between those two unless you really practice it.
Yeah. Well, and again, knowing what's anxiety of it for me.
It's just learning your body.
Yeah, learning what's like, okay, it's fine, whatever, or being like,
Yeah. You know, I have really good intuition, and I always choose to ignore it. So that's a really good one.
I also have you can pivot, which is I had it down for brand stuff, like if you have a business or whatever, but I also had it down for personal because what I went to school for originally is not what I'm doing now. So it's okay to change your career and at any point. Like I also was just telling Jade, like maybe in the future I'll go to nursing school and get certified and things like that so I can do more med spa stuff. Even if what you're doing is not working, it's okay to be like, I want to do this instead. It's growth. Okay. Let me find another one. Oh my goodness. All of mine are business ones now.
Oh, fair enough.
Oh, just kidding. Real friends won't ghost you. I went to dinner with a couple girlfriends the other night, and we were talking about how nice it is that we don't feel like we have to text each other every day.
Yeah.
And we can still get together, or we can still like text each other randomly, and it feels like we haven't been apart, or just not feeling like you have to because I'm the type of person who I'm not going to talk to you unless I have something to tell you. I'm not just like, let me call you on my way home and tell you about my day that's the same as every day. And I run into that with my boyfriend sometimes too, because we're in this loop. I'll be curious once we move in together, but we're in this loop of he says good morning, I say good morning, how did you sleep? Oh, I slept good, how about you? Oh, I slept okay, and then we both go to work. And then we come home and it's, oh, how was your day? Oh, my day was literally the same as it always is. And he's like, yeah, me too. And we just do that more to keep up with like where we are and make sure that everyone was okay. But if I did that with all of my friends,
that's a lot.
And it's just kind of boring. Like, what's the point in being like, oh, your day was the same as yesterday? That's cool.
Yeah.
I did not need to know that nothing exciting happened. So, yes. And I've had friends before who I don't text them and then they just disappear and we just never see each other again. It's good to have people who, we've said this before too, it's good to have people who support you and understand your position.
Yeah, which is one of mine is dating. I have so much advice to my younger self about dating because I've been through the ringer. But one is dating someone who doesn't respect your hustle will drain you. Especially, and that doesn't even have to be that you're a business owner, but if you are a hard worker, like when you're in college studying or you're working a job that you are really invested in, if you're with somebody who doesn't have that same, they don't even have to have the same drive, it does help. But if you don't have somebody that sees that passion and respects that and understands that in you, then it's gonna really, if anything, drag you down.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a big thing.
And I've seen it in people where it's like, my boyfriend just got sick of me, whatever, so I quit that thing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, did you want to quit that though? Or was that because you were trying to be a people pleaser? So
yeah, and that one goes hand in hand with the same as being friends with someone who doesn't respect your hustle. You. If somebody doesn't understand that you have to be busy to achieve what you want to achieve, they're not going to be a lifelong friend.
Yeah, I had a client who she and her husband, they're in their 80s now, and love her to death. Love her. But she was telling me how, like, I don't remember what he did, but they had a long distance relationship on and off, like the long distance part being on and off, for like 3 years. And she was like, it was super hard, and there were days where I cried. And she was like, but I just knew that once it was done, we would be able to like live our lives and have the kind of lives that we wanted to live. And she was using it as a comparison because her grandson is dating a girl now who does not respect that. He has done so much for himself. And so she was like, either the girl will start understanding and she'll be okay with it and she'll figure it out, or they'll probably end up breaking up. So
yeah, that's frustrating.
You have to
be somebody that gets it.
Yeah, which is also advice I would give to myself, is you will find someone who gets it. Mm-hmm. If I was always like, I have to stay with this person because I'm just getting old, like I would say that all the time. I was terrified of getting old. And I would be like, you're getting old, and like
tons of people get stuck
and like
in that
by the time and I'm like 18 and I'm like, oh, I'm getting old. And I need someone who's gonna, be a dad and be a this. And I would get into relationships with people who were not good people because I would be like, well, once they finish school, like, this is what our lives, and I would plan too far ahead. And then some things would happen or whatever, and I'd be like, oh my God, what if I had married that person? That's nuts. That's great. I would be miserable. I could also maybe be dead, but I look at Jade. But like, Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day because my brother was asking me about some of my past relationships, and I was telling him some of my red flags. Because the girl that he's kind of, I say wooing, I don't really know what stage they're in, wooing, was like, I don't know if this is going to be a worry or not. And I was like, no, I think that's okay. But anyway, and I was just remembering all the guys. I was like, oh my God, if I had married any of those guys that's not my current boyfriend right now, ugh. Wild.
Yeah.
Wild ways.
I'm trying to think. I have so many like pieces of advice I could give myself about relationships. I'm trying to think of how to like word out. I feel like listening to your friends is a good one when it comes to like their opinions on who you're seeing.
Yeah.
Because either they've been in your position or they're just witnessing things they question.
When it's outside eyes.
Yeah.
I feel like it goes with lots of things. If your friends are saying like, hey, we've noticed, intervention-y style, hey, might be a bad idea, then you should probably.
And when I say that, it's like majority versus minority.
Yeah.
If a majority of your friends are telling you something, you should probably listen. Especially because my friends are all from different circles. They don't really overlap very often. So if all of my friends who don't even interact with each other are telling me the same thing, I know something's up.
Yeah.
So just pay attention to what people are telling you and factor it in a little bit.
Yeah. Another piece of advice to my younger self is, I was gonna say take a chance, but then I realized I did take that chance, and I'm here now. So, but
to
anybody else's younger selves, take the chance. When we moved here 8 years ago or something, I had two choices because I had just finished high school, where I could stay in North Carolina or I could move here for free. And I was like, it will be easier for me to move here for free, and if I hate it, to move back home, than to try and move out here later. So I was like, I'm gonna do it. And it was scary, and I have one friend, like real friend, because we've been friends since popped out of the womb, back home, but none of my other friends. It was a good change for my life. So sometimes that you need to take the chance and take the change. It's important. That goes back to the gut feeling.
Yeah, and like I have the one of like you don't need to have it all figured out.
Yeah,
like things fall into place as they happen, and that's true for going into a relationship. Like I feel like it's so cliche, and I've always thought it was cliche until it happened to me. But like sometimes the relationships that happen when you least expect it are the best, and it's like sorry Joe if you're listening, I almost didn't keep seeing my boyfriend when I first met him because. Like, I kid you not, 4 days before I met him, I'd had a conversation with people that I was going to stop dating and I was going to focus on my business and myself. And you can do that while dating. It's all about knowing boundaries, like I said earlier, and like prioritizing what you need to prioritize. But you don't have to have it all figured out. If something feels right in that moment, even though you thought it would happen on that timeline, just go for it.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Well, most of the time with dating too, I mean, there's always that saying of you find love when you least expect it.
Which
and sometimes it's like immediately 4 days. And for me, it was like I took a year where I didn't date, and the year flew by. And granted, part of that year was during COVID. So I say that I feel lucky because I think if COVID hadn't have happened when it did in my life, then there's a lot of growth for me that wouldn't have occurred. So I'm thankful for COVID sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. There was some other stuff in COVID that wasn't great, but as far as like personal growth, I benefited from basically being cut off, but I worked at a job that was considered essential, so I still had social interaction, and that's probably why I wasn't like depressed. But anyways, so I took that year off, and I am kind of boy crazy still to this day. I don't know if that's like what adults say when they like I'm always some celebrity crush or something, and my boyfriend knows, like, none of it's serious, like, whatever. But I had a crush on him for a really long time, and I was kind of joking about, oh, I'm gonna get his number, and oh, I'm gonna ha. And then I did, and here we are. But 4 years later. But yeah, sometimes you just never know.
I didn't even know my boyfriend existed until he walked up to my car and asked for my number.
And you almost ran him over?
Yeah.
I loved that. It literally makes me think of those rom-com things where it's like she actually hits him with the car. And he's like, I just wanted to ask you a question.
No, it definitely reversed out of the space. I'm like, oh, you good?
That's so cute.
Literally.
Those are all
came when I least expected it.
Those are all of my personal ones. Personal advice.
I could probably go on forever, but I think we should probably move on to business.
Yes.
So I do have a lot when it comes to business. again, you don't need to have it all figured out. I feel like a lot of people I talk to really stress about having everything in order before they start their business, and I just want to say that I just kind of found a studio and dove into it.
And that's that gut feeling again, because we talked about this when we were apartment hunting. We talked about this when I was thinking about opening studios, like all of this, that with the studio that I'm in now, it happened like for a reason. Like it happened when it happened. I had toured them and he was like, he had texted me, the landlord had texted me like a week before and was like, oh, unfortunately none of the rooms are available now. I already gave that one that I was going to show you to somebody, which ended up being somebody that now we follow each other. But anyways, and so he was like, so, there's no rooms available. And I was like, well, I still want to tour just because if something does become available, I can like jump on it.
Yeah.
And the day before my tour, he said, I have a room available. This was October of the previous year from when I opened my business. And he said, I have a room that will become available in February. And at the time I was working part-time working full-time at a salon, and I was really nervous about going out on my own because I wasn't sure I was going to do it. A lot of the places want you to like sign your lease or sign your agreement and start right there, just like apartments. And most of them are like, they don't give you like an availability window.
Yeah.
At least not one that big. Sometimes it's like a week. And so I was really nervous to do it, and when he said, February, I was like, this gives me enough time to where I can work full-time up until February and save and save and save and save, and then I can like start building up things that I am gonna need so that way I can go in there. And that's also kind of what happened with this apartment, is all the apartments were either available that day or like way like, in the future, or really expensive, or we didn't like the layout or any of these things. And I was like, I'm really stressed. I feel like we're just gonna have to settle for one that we're not gonna like because of all this stuff. And then we toured one, and we were like, we really like this. Like, this is a great price. This is a great area. It's close to where we work, but not too close to where my boyfriend felt like he was, I don't know, leaving whatever he leaves behind. But he didn't want to be too into Parker because it's more expensive. But all of the pieces, fell into place. And we had said we wanted to move beginning of August. And the unit that we liked is not available until August 10th. And we were like, that's a sign. So I don't know where I was going with that. I forgot.
I don't even remember where we started.
Gut instincts and, not feeling like we have to have everything. Just because the reason I tell that story is because I see so many people who are fresh out of beauty school and they feel like they need to be on their own immediately.
Actually, my advice for that is go work for somebody for a year. I think going straight from beauty school to working for yourself is a bad idea purely because beauty school teaches you how to pass the test. It doesn't teach you how to be a good esthetician, cosmetology, nail artist. Like,
and
it doesn't.
The thing that I learned from salons is you also learn business stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of stuff the owner I swallowed wrong. The owner that I worked for when I started in a salon did that I was like, oh, that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
That if this happens or if whatever, this is how I need to handle. And it also taught me how to handle confrontation without feeling like everything was on me.
Sure.
So I knew because of the salon I was in that if we had a difficult client, and it wasn't my client because none of my clients complained, but if we had like a difficult client or somebody who was complaining or had a bad situation, like I knew I could confront that. And the boss or my coworkers would be like, yeah, we back you. Versus when you're in your own business, it feels so much harder because everything comes back on you. And there's no one else to be like, no, Emma's right, you're in the wrong, difficult client.
Yeah.
It's, it's good to gain that experience, especially because unless you have a really big community of like, I don't even like to say family and friends, but that's the only time I've seen it succeed is people who have a decently sized, like 10 to 15 family friends who will become clients. But long term, that's not sustainable because we all know family and friends don't make good long-term clients. However, I have seen it where because they have 10 to 15 people who are consistently basically advertising for them, that they are able to build off of that. But again, that depends on your community as well, and that depends on what what work you're willing to put in outside of that, because even though you have your 10 to 15 clients, like who's to say you don't have a falling out with someone and 50% of those people leave, or it's rough.
Yeah, depending on clients from friends, family, and relationships is a horrible idea.
Yeah. I mean,
That's advice to my younger self.
I don't even want to do certain family or friends' nails, because I'm like, I don't want it to become something where I have to fire you and then we're on bad terms because you're mad at me.
Yeah, it's better to become friends with your clients than your friends become.
Technically, you were a client before.
Yeah. I mean, you have to set boundaries appropriate if you're gonna do that, but...
Well, and know the limits. Like, I have a couple clients who, like, I have one client, she loves to go to concerts, and I do her mom's nails too. And I was like, yeah, sometimes I can't find a concert buddy. And she was like, you should ask my daughter. She will go with you. And I was like, oh, that's like a good, reasonable thing. But, like, I personally would feel uncomfortable with most of my clients who I didn't kind of know previously, like you or Jayla, or like even some of my other clients they weren't like close friends, but we knew each other. Like getting drinks sometimes, I feel like I'm like, ooh, that might, for me personally, that's just not a boundary because I don't go drinking anyways.
I was gonna say, I feel like the issue with going drinking with people is you don't know what they're like in that situation. Like that's a high stress, high risk.
But I know people who do it, and that's fine, and they are fine. But I still think that it is important.
I'll go get coffee.
Yeah.
Or even I'll go get
And
brunch.
it's good to know who genuinely, like client-wise, who genuinely cares about you, because you don't want to end up with a client that takes advantage of the fact that you're now friends.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, you're my friend now, so don't I get a discount? Or don't you get to come in at midnight? Or whatever weird, crazy thing. Like, I know that the clients that I'm becoming closer to, or ones that I would call my friends, are still super respectful and not there. I know they're not going to text me at midnight and be like, so you're going to come and do my nails right now, right?
Recent advice to my past self a month or two ago, I guess. Stop doing freebies or extreme discounts, hoping to get returning clients. I learned the hard way that I will no longer be doing giveaways.
Yeah, well, see, and I was trying to figure out a way, which maybe we can like try to work together and figure out some sort of cute something, but I really wanted to do a giveaway when I hit 800 followers, and I did.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I should do like a giveaway, and I was like, but I can't, what am I gonna give away? Oh, you get 2 cuticle oils, you can't have an appointment with me, and then it's, oh, the giveaway is limited to current clients that I already have, which doesn't seem super great either, because then I should have done it when my books were full, and like all these things where I was like, and I can't just do free nail art because, again, it's just to my normal clients. Like, I can't have more regular people. So I wish there was a way that I could do some sort of cute giveaway thing where it is kind of like, oh, I appreciate you guys, and here's me giving back to the community in a way without...
Maybe do a group giveaway. But I'm done doing solo giveaways.
When I find group ones, as far as if you want to gain followers fast, group giveaways, especially if you both have a decent amount of people, because I did a group giveaway for Valentine's Day where I did a sugar scrub and some cuticle oil and a lotion, I think, and I gained probably about 100 followers from that, just from people being like, oh, you have to follow everybody. So
yeah, I'd be down to participate in that.
We have to that's what I mean, is we have to figure out like, oh, are we gonna do like a cute self-care basket, or like something that makes sense, or maybe do we pair with someone else who is trying to grow and try and get them clients, but then we just include stuff from our businesses? Like, I don't know. What were we on? Is it my turn?
Yes.
So we're back to the you can pivot. You can pivot. I see people do this all the time. If you are in nails, hair, skin, beauty world, or any business where you're doing your own business and you feel like it's not working or it's just not for you anymore, again, even if it's not a failure, you can pivot. It's okay to make those changes. I was thinking about, I said this already, but like going to nursing school in the future, or possibly if nails become too, I don't know, like if I need to switch up my health or whatever because whatever I'm doing with nails is bad, then maybe I would get into facials and things like that. And I feel like it's hard for, especially once you get into your mid-20s, to feel like that's okay. So don't feel like you can't do it. There are ways to do it.
I personally believe you can always start over, but there are some restraints on that. Like if you have a partner who's depending on you, that makes it a little harder. If you have children, that makes it even harder. There are certain things that do make it harder, but I am a believer that you should pursue what makes you happy.
Yeah, and again, there's ways to do it.
Mhm.
If your partner's dependent on you and you know you're gonna have to close your business, okay, then work at Target. And it'll suck. And then you'll probably hate it, but if you know you're working towards something that you're actually gonna like.
Exactly. There's always ways to do it. I mean, right now, for example, I've had to grab a second job just to make it possible for what I want by December, January this year of moving out. And I'm not even mad about it because, like, I get to do makeup again, and I haven't done makeup in a while. So I'm
I'm
honestly
excited for that. I'm really excited for you to start that.
Yeah. So I'm honestly really excited about the opportunity. And it's funny because I was talking to her, my new manager, yesterday about the fact that I was filming this today. And she was like, why didn't you put out
To do that?
Yep.
That feels weird because we're not getting paid for this, by the way. I didn't know that.
So it counts as one of your, like, achievements.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
And because our podcast is business related as well,
yeah.
it shows our. Yeah.
I would still be kind of nervous about that because if they listened to it before hiring you, is that going to be like if they Googled you before? I don't know. But I guess
you and I don't have anything cryptic on here, so.
I know. I'm like, I don't know. Unless we get into more personal stuff. But
So
we do
anyways.
things, yes.
Always work on your resume and maybe do research on what can be on it because I never thought, but personal blogs are good to go on there too and do stuff like that.
And find part-time things. I mean, there's part-time schools if you need to go back to school. There's part-time jobs if you just need a little extra help. There's part-time internships if you need that. There's all sorts of things because I think our world is pivoting in its own way to be more accommodatable. Like beauty schools used to be full-time, every day, like a job you couldn't work. And then when I started, it was still kind of like that, but there were also just more jobs where I could work in the evenings.
That's what I did.
And then now I know a lot of beauty schools do, you can do morning or you stay however many hours and makeup on days that you have more time, and they're a little more flexible with it. So it just kind of depends on what route. You don't have to take the same route as somebody you know just because that's what worked for them.
I think that's just good advice in general. You don't have to do the same things as your friends. There's a lot to be said, and coming from somebody who has struggled with codependency her entire life, there's a lot to be said for being independent and pursuing your own desires and what is best for you, rather than factoring everybody else in. It's gonna suck, especially if you do lose a friend or a relationship even here or there, but you have to prioritize yourself.
Yep.
I
don't know who's turning this.
I think it's mine, but I mean, one of mine was, it's about pivoting, but in a different way. Don't stress about your logo or your business name or your Instagram theme when you first start. Mm-hmm. Just start. You can always change your colors later. You can change your branding later. You can change I know tons of people who change their Instagram theme grid on the monthly, if not.
I'm one of those people because I can't decide. But
It's hard to do, so don't let those kind of things overwhelm you and prevent you from starting. I pivoted and I changed my whole branding, I want to say almost 2 years ago now. So I was in business for a year and a half before I changed my...
When I'm still in the process of figuring out what I want to do or if I need to rebrand or anything like that, and you know, you don't have to...
You're not stuck with where you started, ever.
And honestly, once you start posting, even if you just have 50 followers, rebranding can sometimes bring people back to you. Like, oh yeah, I forgot I was following her and now she's got this new... Because I have a photographer in my networking group, and I don't really get her content on my Instagram very much, but when she changed her logo and her branding colors, that's all I saw for like a week was just her posts about that. And I was like, it's weird that this is what's getting pushed.
Yeah.
Versus...
Yeah, but that's just a different way. That pivoting is completely okay. You don't need to feel stuck with what you started with.
Within reason. Don't, I wouldn't change your business name every week, but but definitely you can be, what's the common thing I keep seeing is like blah 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 by name. Like, lashes by blah blah blah, nails by blah, skin by blah blah blah. So you could start with that and then go from there. Because also trying to find something that's really unique and fits your branding, you can also change when sharing your business. I mean, I think I wanted mine to be more elegant in the beginning, and now I'm like, no, plants and growth and garden fairies. That's what we're doing. Purple.
It's funny because mine started off relatively dark. I was black and gold were my business colors, and now I've changed to pink and purple.
But I think
And
you just
turquoise
realize
and
what makes you happy in your space, and then that reflects in your branding. Being in a dark space was not a happy space.
And it's funny because there's so many lash artists that like having their dark, moody lash rooms, and I just can't do that.
Yeah,
Because I don't have a
couldn't
window
do
back
that
here.
either.
So
Well, and I didn't want like my little, even though all my plants are fake, like I like that I have greenery, and it doesn't just feel like a little box that I'm in, window and things.
no, I mean, I am the only person in this entire suites, and I think there's probably 60 suites in here. I'm the only one who has a colored room. And it's funny because when I was painting it, my landlord walked by and he's like, I don't think anybody has painted their room quite so bright. And that's when I went and walked around and looked at them, and a lot of people have one accent wall with accent wallpaper instead of painting, and it's just funny to see how many are just blank.
Yeah, I was gonna
walls.
say that's how Jayla's is. She has her one red wall, and that's.
I get it, because painting this over is well, I mean, it won't suck that bad. It'll be the same as painting it when I painted it.
Well, and again, if you know when you're anticipating to leave, it's not like it's.
If the right person moves in, you can get a pink room.
That's how mine was. I have this, I don't know what you would call it. I think shiplap is not the right word, but I have this like wood board wall,
really cool.
and I had already wanted something like that, but maybe not as dramatic because I knew I was gonna have to take it down or something. And she was like, I'll take it down, and I was like, leave it, because it's so thin that we could like screw my shelves through it, and when I move out it'll probably be a pain, but I don't plan on moving out until it's like a thing.
So I guess that's advice to our younger selves, is decorate them how you want.
Yeah.
Just do what you want.
Yeah.
You pay. I think that's something a lot of us forget, is we pay for this space. And a lot of us are paying weekly for our spaces. Please do whatever you please with it. Within reason.
Yeah, within reason.
But make it yours.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is such a big one, and this isn't even advice to my younger self. I feel like this is just advice in general in the beauty business. Burnout isn't a badge of honor. Rest is part of being successful, and there are so many people in their 20s, it doesn't matter what they're doing career-wise, who believe they just don't need sleep. That's so wrong.
Yeah.
20s are our developmental years, yes, which means we should be pursuing our career and pursuing all these hobbies and things. But believe me, when you're in your late 30s, early 40s, you're going to see it catching up to you, not sleeping. There's no such thing as regaining your sleep. Once you've lost hours of rest in your lifetime, you've lost those hours forever.
Well, it's just hard on your body. Your body needs that time to recover.
I think a lot of people forget that when you sleep, that's when your body's regenerating.
Yeah.
If you don't sleep, your body...
That's why our skin looks so good, even though we don't even sleep as much as some people should.
If you are never sleeping, your body is never regenerating.
Yeah. I mean, that's why they call it beauty rest. It's literally like, it keeps you where you need to, and it makes your your body takes time to slow down and heal. And even if it's just like, oh, you got a paper cut, like sleep helps with that healing. Because I have
supposed to sleep when you're sick, guys. I have so many people tell me when I'm sick, oh, just sweat it out. No. No, I promise that doesn't work.
Okay, it depends on the type of sweating out and what it is. Because it's one thing to be like, oh, like we have a little ozone sauna.
Yeah, that's different.
Like,
this is people telling me go to the gym, go do yard work. No, don't overexert yourself.
And that's way too much.
Please don't overexert yourself. If your body's telling you to rest, rest. Rest.
That's how I have one that says rest before you think you've earned it.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people never get to a point where they're like, I deserve to rest. And now that I'm at a place where I know kind of how far out I need to know my schedule, I take time off. Like we're going, we go camping and we go to the, if there's a festival or something that I want to go to that's a weekend day, and I know ahead of time, oh, okay, I'll take that day off and enjoy time. Because I feel like people forget, even though in our business you can build up and create a good sustainable income, you're also, if you're at a place where maybe you're not making $100,000 a year, you still should be able to control your schedule enough to where that feels worth it. Like it's that give and take of, okay, I'm making enough that I'm sustaining myself, and even though sometimes it doesn't feel like enough, but I still have that flexibility to be able to rest that others don't. Like my boyfriend does not, and we've talked about this before probably too, about like paid time off and how people are always complaining about how they don't have enough paid time off or something. Yeah. And even though we don't get paid time off, we still have more flexibility in our schedules to be able to take time off if we know ahead of time and make up. And I typically make up for it during the weekend.
I was gonna say, I always work longer days before a trip. Whenever I go on a trip, I end up working extra days.
Yeah, I always add a half day day, 2 half days, or a whole day, depending on what my schedule looks like, to make up for however many. Like when my dad's family came, I counted how many hours I was taking off, and I added it through that entire month. And I was a little skeptical because I thought, well, it's like a whole month. But the time that it fell into, it made sense for me to work a couple days the week before, a couple days, like literally the weekday that they got here, and then a couple days after, and it like made up for everything, and it didn't like throw anyone else's schedule off, and I wasn't cramming it in. And then like 4th of July, if I take that weekend off, then I'm working the days leading into the 4th of July, which a lot of people go out of town for the 4th of July, and so it actually works better for most people because they're like, oh, I want to come the Monday after that weekend, or the Tuesday or whatever, or I want to come the Monday before that weekend because we're going out of town. So that's one of my other ones, is be consistent. Like if you are going to take time off, if you are going to do stuff, like still consistently offer.
My big thing is you don't have to work 7 days a week. When I started, I was working 7 days a week because I wanted to be available for whenever people were available. Now, I think it was probably a year into running my own business, so I did that for a year, that somebody said to me, well, no, you only need to work 5 days and clients will work around your schedule. And I didn't really believe that because some of those people, I think I switched to taking Thursdays and Fridays off in this situation, which is not what I have off at all now, but I switched to taking Thursdays and Fridays off, and I just didn't believe that that was true, but lo and behold, it is true.
Yeah. And again, within reason. I see people complain about their work schedule and they only work 10 to 4, and people are like, well, I wish you had. And they're complaining about not being booked or whatever.
Either
so again, it's
do have to work late nights, or you do have to work at least one weekend day, in beauty industry at least. Because there are people who work Monday through Friday at a typical office job of, nowadays there's some that are 9 to 4,
I'd say like,
but 10
yeah,
to 5.
10 to 5 is typically what I see most people if they're in office, or 9 to 4. Yeah.
But if you do not have a weekend day available, you are going to have to accept that you need to work nights at least once or twice in your week.
Yeah. And I asked, which again, we might have said this before, I asked the current clients I had, because I was in a position where I could, and said, pick 2 days out of the week that you would love, that you are available or want to come get your nails done, and I will pick the 4 most popular days. And so in the end, I only had 3 people who wanted Saturday, but I had 6 who wanted Sunday. And then I had people who, I have one day where I come in later, but I stay later. So it's all just that.
It's a give and take.
Give and take, balancing, knowing your area, knowing that if you work in a busy city that you probably should. There's a girl who I used to follow. I can't remember if she did nails or lashes, but it was something, one of those. I know it wasn't facials or hair. And she would come in at noon and stay until 10 because people would come during their lunch or after they got their morning stuff done, and then they would come after work. And she lived in a like city,
I mean, if you want the clientele that is free from 10 to 4 and you just know that's the kind of clients you want and trust you can fill your books for that, it's possible. I see people who don't work weekends and don't have to work late, especially for those in our industry that have children, so they have to factor their schedule around that. There are people who don't work a normal job. We don't, so we're free at odd times. There are people who are stay-at-home moms. Like, there is the right clients.
Yeah, like I do most of my appointments on Mondays.
Yeah, so there is the right clientele for those people that do want to work 10 to 4. Just know you might have to fight a little bit harder to fill your books.
Yeah. And how you advertise yourself.
Yeah.
Because again, the times that I see it succeed the most is the, hey, are you sick of people only being available on the weekends? I have weekday appointments that are early in the morning or in the afternoon when your kid is asleep. Like, so again, everything's a give and take.
That's another piece of advice though, is the right clients for you will find you. You do have to market, obviously, and you do have to push your business, but those who are right for you will find you. And that goes hand in hand with the no giveaways, freebies, discounts. This might offend some people, but that's okay. The clients who are looking to win a giveaway or for a discounted service, unfortunately, are always looking for the next giveaway or the next discounted service. So that's not going to help you.
That's why what I learned from that one giveaway I did, it was definitely that one was also supposed to be a one-off. It was a give this to your mom, wife, girlfriend, tag them so they can have a spa date for Valentine's Day. But it's definitely those people don't come back. Like, they don't come back, or again, they're always looking for offer a giveaway, and it's a great way to grow your platform, especially if you do it with multiple people, because they have to tag other people and then they're all following all 3, 5, 6 of you, however many are in it. But as far as gaining consistent clients from that, it's not ideal. Even the people who win or whatever, it's just not. And the discount one was huge. They told me that in beauty school. They said, do not offer discounts straight out of the works. They said, actually, the teacher that I had, I guess I didn't have her at the time I graduated, but I had at one point. She had said it would be better for me to charge less and then raise my prices than to just keep offering discounts. And not like, oh, you're charging $10, but like, if you feel a little worrisome and you want to get people in the door, then you could do that first, because if you raise your prices and then all those people leave, okay, but at least you know now. Or if you like, there was like, okay, there could be consequences, but it would be less likely that people would be seeking you out at that point for the discount. Because I used to offer punch cards and people would abuse that.
I bet.
And I did big punch cards. Like, I was like, oh, you have to do 10 appointments. And so I did throw some in my client gift bags last year because they're all loyal. None of them are like, give me a discount, give me a discount. And I think I've said this before too. I offer one to clients after so many appointments. They get a text that's like, oh, how was your time? Get $5 off. And most of the time, none of them do it. Because they're like, oh, I don't need $5.
Yeah.
But the punch cards that I had, I stopped doing them because I had the people who would do the 6 appointments and then they would get their, like, this is what I didn't understand. They would do the 6 appointments, they would get their discount, and then they wouldn't come back. And I'd be like, you've been here for 7 appointments now. Why? You paid for 6 appointments, full price, but the 7th one you got your discount and now you're like, whatever. And I was like, that's so weird. And don't do a big discount. My current clients, the ones who did get the punch cards, I scribbled out, because it used to be 40% off of service. And I scribbled it out and I wrote 20% on some and 10% on the others. And they were like, oh my gosh, this was such a surprise, and 10%. Like, cool. None of them were like, you couldn't do more? And at this point, I do love all my clients after I got rid of that.
Whenever any of my current clients get a discount, they just give it back to me in the tip.
Yeah. I think we've talked about that too, like most of the time. So, because it's all people who actually respect your work. Like, the people who don't respect your work, you see it.
Invest in good education and tools, not just trends. I, unfortunately, when I opened my business, didn't do much research into the lash products that I initially started using. And what's wild to me is the company is still going, because, I don't know, I didn't like them. And I also really lacked education on lashes when I opened my business, because beauty school doesn't teach you much when it comes to lash extensions, unless, actually no, I don't think there's any unless. Beauty school normally covers lash extensions in a day, possibly 2, depending on where you're going, and that's not enough. And then the spa I worked at initially, it was supposedly training, but again, I never really learned how to do volume lashes or anything like that properly there. So just make sure you do your research on what you're buying when you start your business, and maybe realize you're not as educated as you think you are.
I have that point too. Educate yourself beyond beauty school, which we have been wanting to do an episode on that. It's really in depth and we haven't had time. But this is, like, I have learned that it is better to go and find the cheapest, crappiest beauty school, get in and out, and then spend your money on education outside.
Yeah, because that goes hand in hand with, they teach you to pass the test.
Yeah.
They teach you to get your license. They don't teach you how to be a cosmetologist or an esthetician.
I don't know how some of these beauty schools, people are complaining about, oh, I didn't realize that beauty school was going to have me working 40 hours a week for free. And I'm like, girl, I had 3 clients in beauty school.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, I had maybe a little bit more, but it was like, you maybe got 1 a week. Maybe.
We definitely went to a more boutique style beauty school.
And they've updated a lot and supposedly are busier now. I don't know. But at the time, it was also, again, in that medium price range. It wasn't as expensive as Aveda, and it wasn't as cheap as the other one. But I wish I would have just picked the cheap one.
I also forget, though, that I went to beauty school during COVID. So, because I started beauty school January 2020. So we were shut down in March of 2020, and then we weren't allowed back in person until June, I think.
But the thing that's crazy about that, especially now being out here, is there were so many ways that they could have given us a super in-depth education without it being how it was.
I didn't do any of the online.
Like, so we had online, and they made all these promises where they were like, you have to take all your stuff home. We're gonna set up our mannequins, and we're gonna do cutting classes on Zoom. We're gonna do it. We didn't do any of that. And
Agree.
the things that actually gave me the most education is every now and then one other student or one of the teachers would pay for a at your own pace kind of online educational class and give us all the login information so we could do it. So there was one where I learned how to do the little K-tip extensions where you like put the glue and you like roll the hair, and like because somebody else paid for that class and was like, I'm gonna let all the other students, and she was a fellow student who wanted to get certified in that. And I was like, if they could have just teamed up with other brands or schools or educators to like give us more, because online schooling was getting bigger because people couldn't do in-person stuff. So there was that. We also, once we finally went back, they gave us a week of nails, and I say a week loosely because it was really one day of education and then a week of everybody just like screwing around with the products. I understand that most cosmetologists don't want to do anything but hair, but geez Louise, guys, like come on. But yeah, so I always say, if you can get it, I don't know how young, I don't feel like we have anyone in high school who listens to us, but if you can get your cosmetology school through your high school, do it. Do it for free. You don't need to go to the fancy one. I had two clients now ask me for their daughters, like, they really want to go to this, so they're going to wait. I'm like, no, just go, and then you can fly or pay for all of your fancy education outside of it once you're licensed, and it's so much more in-depth. The e-file certification I took outside of school, because they didn't even offer that at my school, was so amazing, and I recommend her to everyone and she's in Denver, like Lakewood area, and she does an e-file certification class that's state approved because it has to be for you to get your e-file license. And it was so good because she actually cared about teaching us. Like, she wanted us to learn what we were doing. And any of the builder gel classes or nail classes, or even when I did my facial refresher class, it all was way more informative than beauty school because they want you to learn and succeed with the products you're using. So, yes.
There's a lot to be said from learning from the brands that you're using. Because they know how their products are made.
So my last one is pretty lighthearted. And it also kind of goes into the you don't need like a bunch of stuff, trends or whatever. You genuinely don't need every color or every lash color or honestly every hair color. You don't need every color. I am a color addict. I want every color of gel. I want every builder color, every base color, every whatever. And recently I have gotten to a point where to save more money, I want to be able to profit more from my business. And my clients are also at a point where I'm not worried. I have over 300 colors.
Yeah.
I have over 300 colors. I haven't counted in a really long time. But I don't need every color, and I've gotten to a point where it's easier for me to mix up a color for one full set because I do have so many colors that I can get down pretty specifically to a custom color, and I don't need something that snapped me out of it. Was I had a client come in and we did these, I love her nails, they're so long, and we did these like periwinkle, almost like sea glass but shiny, where it wasn't like sheer but it wasn't solid, like a solid color. And she brought in this picture, and I was like, every time somebody brings in a picture and it's always a color I don't have, even though I have 50 million colors. And so I made it, and I realized that that color was the type of consistency as some of the Japanese colors I had been looking at to buy, which are expensive. And I was like, oh, I don't need them anymore. I can just make them, and they're not popular enough to where like people are getting them all the time to where it's annoying to mix it.
Yeah.
So like that periwinkle color, I did it on her. Nobody else has asked for it. It didn't take me any longer to mix it up on my little palette, and I just kept remembering the ratios so I could mix more if I needed it. And it was honestly probably easier because with a lot of the Japanese syrup colors, you have to do 3 coats to get to where we were. But I did 1 coat that was a little more opaque, and then I did a second coat that was a little more sheer because I had more control over it. So you don't need every color. Like, you also don't need only 6 colors to make custom colors, but you don't need to buy every single color. I also believed for a really long time that I was going to need to have everything from one singular brand. And I was like, I need to find a brand that offers the builders and the bases and the top coats and the colors. And yes, like, you want them to work together as a system. But I have several different gel polish brands, and I just find the need of like, I don't need to replace all of these with a singular brand, especially for colors that don't get used. Like, why do I need to replace my hot pinkish purple color? This is another thing that made me change my mind. It's like this bright, vibrant, almost like dark neon. I don't know how to explain it. And it's from a brand that I no longer support. And sometimes it's really popular in the summer, and this year nobody's used it. And the brand that I do love came out with a color that I think is an exact match. And I was like, I should get it. I should get it and replace that one. And then I was like, no, I actually don't need that because nobody's gotten that color at all this year. And why do I need to buy a brand new one when this one is fine? So now I'm getting to a point where I'm like, you know what? I have enough colors and I have enough from each brand that it's not even like I'm mixing my brands all the time. Like most of the time I'm using the brands that I like anyway. So it's just, yeah, you don't need every color. I think that's it. Yeah, because some of it isn't necessarily, some of the stuff I had written down I'm realizing isn't necessarily advice I needed to hear. I mean, maybe somebody out there needs to hear it, but my younger self, there's a lot of stuff that like I was really sad I didn't make friends in beauty school, but I realized that doesn't matter. You don't have to have friends in beauty school. You can be by yourself. That's fine. I didn't have a lot of friends, and it's funny because Jade and Jayla, who I mention a lot, we all went to the same beauty school. And if you would have told me, younger me in beauty school, that we would have been like here where we are in our friendship, and like I would have been like, ha, you're lying. That's not true. I barely know them. So again, you find your community outside of when you get into the, I guess, real world, real life.
That's why friendships change so much in your 20s.
I think we're gonna end it here. We're a good place. And I have to go color my brother's hair. So as usual, all of our links will be in the descriptions for our podcast, which we are posting on there more. Clips from upcoming episodes or maybe clips from episodes you haven't watched yet. So we're doing that. I have started posting more quotes that resonate with me, us, whatever ends up being on there. And then we have our business Instagrams, which I'm starting also to get to a point that I'm liking the layout of my Instagram, and I'm figuring out a formula because of our ChatGPT roast. I actually had it roast me yesterday. I said re-roast my Instagram, and it was like, you've improved so much. And I was like, wow, thanks.
The roast stressed me out. That's what's happened. I keep worrying about my grid now, so I haven't posted in a little bit.
Yeah, I went through and I archived a bunch of stuff, and I am going back because Reels you can change the covers for. So I'm going back, and on some of the Reels I'm making them look a little more cohesive. But yeah, so thanks for listening. We hope this was educational as usual. We're halfway through the year. It's wild. I don't know. I'm excited to see where we go. I'm excited to see where you guys go. So keep us updated, question, comments, or concerns. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.